In today's video, we are going to be doing this watercolor mug on top of books, vintage feel painting. And I got inspiration. My husband got me these beautiful ceramic mugs for Christmas, so that is the inspiration for this mug here. I'm also practicing for my February plan with me. I want to do mugs and books and kind of a really vintage feel. So this is definitely a practice. My perspective with the mug, the size of it is a little off, but we're just going to get into it and we're not going to worry about that. So I started off with a pencil sketch and I'm wetting the background with not clear water. It does have a tint to it because I mixed up all of my colors beforehand. And you can't really see the tint of the water when I laid it down anyways. So the background, everything behind the mug is supposed to be kind of out of focus. So that's why I did wet on wet. With watercolor, when you do wet on wet, it makes everything blurry. And it really gives a really cool effect when you're using it for out of focus objects or fog or something like that. So that's what I did for the candle and the book in the background. Now for the book in the foreground, I'm going over the edges, leaving some white spaces to make it look like it's a very old book, very old paper that's maybe been rustled about here and there. And I'm doing a very light color for the actual pages of the book. And I do all of that first. I'm doing the mug last. I go into the background again just to add a little bit more color because watercolor dries lighter than when you put it down. So if you want a really dark pigment, mix it really dark and really thick first, or just go in with layers and layers. For underneath the book, I'm doing a very light, a very watered down gray, and I used Payne's gray. All of the colors I will have in the description box below. I can't remember off the top of my head what colors I used because I used so much. So for the candle, I'm just going in and kind of adding a little bit more color, but still keeping the edges fairly loose and out of focus. And I do go in with my Jelly Roll pen just to accentuate some of the highlights in the candle, but I don't show that on this video, but I just go around the rim and the middle of the candle just to show some highlights. There's my beautiful mug. I love it. I got 2 of them. And so the picture that I used for inspiration and for reference, I got on Pinterest. That mug did have a lip on it, and the mugs that my husband got me did not. So I'm kind of meshing the two together. And the top of my mugs have a blue handle, and then the bottom is white. And so how you can kind of make it look like something is 3D is just how you add in the color, how you add in shadows. It's all about layering and things like that. I did a very light wash of the blue I used for the rim and the handle, plus a smidge of Payne's gray and a lot of water for the base of the mug. I laid down my color, I dipped my brush in my water, and I just moved it all around the mug. So I'm not doing hardly any pigment for the base of the mug at all. So here I'm going in just adding a little bit more shadow, especially underneath the rim. And again, watercolor dries a lot lighter than when you put it down. So it is normal to have to go in and do more layers if you want to do a lot of shadows. Now I'm doing the cinnamon stick. I don't show me coloring it in, but I use just a little darker brown for the inside of the cinnamon stick and the same color for the outside just to color it in. This part was the funnest to me, adding the words to the books. It was so much fun. I used the same color as the cinnamon stick. I just added a little bit more black and I made the paint very thick. So I didn't put a lot of water in it, so it was a very pigmented dark color. And I just did squiggles. For the back book, I laid down a wash of water and then I just added in the paint, the brown paint over it to make, the out of focus words. So it is a wet on wet technique. for this, and it turned out really good, I think. Oh, there's the cinnamon stick. I did show coloring it in. So now I'm just adding some darker parts of the pages just to give a little bit more shadow, a little bit more depth. And I'm adding it in here. I didn't add any white spaces on this part of the book. Don't know why, but I just didn't. And I'm keeping the white spaces white. I'm going in with the center of the book, adding that a little bit darker. And then, of course, you got to put your coffee in your mug, right? Or tea, whatever you guys drink. I'm a coffee drinker. I love Nespresso. I'm always drinking Nespresso. So now's the fun part, doing all of the fine details and the florals and the botanicals of the mug. I loved this part. It's just the same blue that I used for the rim. I just added a little bit more blue. I think it was Prussian blue maybe that I added. Can't remember. Again, I'll have all of the colors in the description box. But I just did some basic 3 4-leaf petals, kind of tilting them here and there to show that they're pointing different ways. The only thing that I would do different is change the way the mug looks. I'm not good at drawing in perspective at all, so that's something I really want to push myself to do more of, is draw in perspective. So after I did this painting, I looked and I found some perspective diagrams to use, so I'll do that next time. So this is the final painting. I hope you guys liked this video. I know it was a really, really fast painting. I sped this up because otherwise it would have been a 30-minute video. If you want longer painting tutorials, just let me know. Kind of want to get a feel of what you guys like, but I think this turned out really great. I am using a Strathmore watercolor pad that I got for Christmas. I will have all the supplies, all of the colors, everything linked in the description box below. I hope you guys liked this tutorial. Let me know if you want to see more watercolor tutorials in the future. And I will be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye!